Hello, I am Olivia Eaton and I will be presenting Advocating for the Underserved, Serving the Visually Impaired. We will begin by looking at statistics for the visually impaired across the state of Virginia, how the Lynchburg Public Library is currently serving this population, and why serving this community effectively is important. I will share some specific actions the library staff can actively take to better serve this community and will close with some final thoughts. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's Disability and Health Data System, 4.7% of Virginians were identified as having a visual impairment. Of this percentage, 3.5% were identified between the ages of 18 to 44, 5.5% between the ages of 45 to 64, and 7.2% were over the age of 65. From this, we can see that vision impairments largely impact older adults. However, in better serving this population, we as library workers cannot make assumptions that only older adults have vision impairments. Based off the shared data from the CDC, there are many adults in Virginia between the ages of 18 and 64 who have a vision impairment, and we must not forget this when serving our patrons. We can also see from this graph that we are seeing an increase over time of adults with visual impairments. This increase means that library staff are more likely to support and work with individuals with vision impairments daily. And as a library staff, how we support these individuals must improve. While staff are often discussing inclusivity and equitable service, this is something that is not being practiced with all of our diverse users. This can be seen in how the Lynchburg Public Library is currently serving the visually impaired community based off data from our inclusive services analysis. Based off this analysis, we see that the stacks and the shelves are not labeled in a large enough font. There are no magnifiers and other tools available to support enlarging materials in the library. No high contrast keyboards are available for computer users. Marketing materials do not accommodate users with visual impairments. Unfortunately, this lack of library services for the visually impaired is not uncommon based on previous studies discussed in Malepo and their fellow researchers' 2024 research article. They share that this lack of adequate service for the visually impaired leads to weakening the equality that library services are founded upon. There are several reasons why serving the visually impaired community is important at the library and the impact this serves has on the entire community. If we are not effectively meeting the needs of the visually impaired, it could lead to them losing interest or losing confidence in the library as discussed by Malepo and their fellow researchers. Losing these users means that their information needs may not be effectively met and that they have lost trust with their information professionals. Raini shares in their 2017 article that our goal as the public library is to meet all their needs in the moment, no matter their race, age, sex, religion, nationality, language, and any potential disabilities. Providing for these diverse users is also related to their intersectionality. Cook identifies intersectionality as the different identities that make up the entire person. Serving the visually impaired community means we are providing not just for this disability, but we will also be supporting different facets of their identity, as well as others who do not have or currently have a vision impairment. The American Library Association also shares similar beliefs in that resources and services should not be denied or abridged because of a disability. This means that by not effectively meeting the visually impaired needs, we are limiting or denying them access to vital information and resources. By introducing effective solutions to the library now, we can create a more equitable and inclusive environment for our current and future visually impaired users with improved access to vital services and resources. Supporting this community means we are better able to support their current and future information needs and meet other identifiable or unidentifiable facets of the individual. The first action would be addressing the collection and making it more accessible to the visually impaired community. The first solution would be to update the signage at the end of each stack to make it more accessible. This would mean using larger text in an easy-to-read font to identify what authors or subjects are within each stack. Labeling the shelving within the stack must be improved in a couple of different ways. The first would be identifying when a new letter starts in a fiction or the next set of Dewey Decimal Number through using signs on the shelves. Popular authors such as Sarah J. Maas and James Patterson should have clear signs in large, easy-to-read text on the shelves to clearly identify where their materials live. The same should be done for popular sections in nonfiction. When it comes to audio-visual materials, making sure within the records of these items they are clearly identified as having an audio-described feature available on the DVD. Currently, when searching for this option, only a handful of items appear with this search term using the catalog. Additional titles must be located in the collection that have the feature and their records updated. This will require staff looking into DVDs to identify which titles have this feature so the cataloger can add this vital information to the records. Identifying the audio described feature within the DVD collection can go a step further by labeling the spine or cover, identifying which titles have this feature. The second action that must be taken is purchasing devices that support the visually impaired users in the library and at home. Purchasing high-contrast keyboards with enlarged letters will support patrons utilizing the computer lab during their library visit. These keyboards can be easily swapped out with the traditional keyboard at any computer when a user requests them. Another solution would be purchasing magnifier sheets, magnifying glasses, and desk lamps. These items will provide further access to more resources within the library. These items would be available at the reference desk and available for checkout. The last action step is updating our marketing. This action will include updating the font size within all marketing materials to make it accessible for our visually impaired users. This will mean simplifying graphics to allow space for a larger font sizes. However, this change will allow staff to inform the community of resources and upcoming programs, creating a more welcoming and inclusive environment. The Lynchburg Public Library staff embracing these actions will create a more inclusive and equitable environment for our visually impaired users. Meeting their needs is vital for library staff to build trust with the community. Embracing these users demonstrates that we are aware of the diversity not only within the community, but within each individual who walks in the library. It also demonstrates that library staff desires to provide an equitable and inclusive environment for the entire community. This environment will build trust and create return users to provide effective and accurate information and other resources too. Thank you for your time. My presentation concludes with the references used in the presentation.